Belligerent Brown Boys. Episode 9?
Are we already on
Yep.
9? No way.
Yep.
Yeah, episode 9. Yeah, I almost forgot there for a second. Episode Nuevo.
Oh, we got to do something for number 10. I don't know. 10's pretty big.
Yeah, we'll figure something out near the end of this one. But episode 9 ski. We're here. It is hot again. But again, I don't mind it. It's fine.
It's been nice. Yeah, it's been a nice few weeks. It's been a hot summer. No complaints here.
You guys were just talking about we had like a biblical thunderstorm last night.
Yeah.
I slept through it. I had no idea this happened.
There were some power outages all over the city.
Looks like another one's brewing outside right now.
It's getting a little dark, eh?
Yeah. That's what you get with the heat. With the heat wave.
Yeah. Didn't they have like funnel clouds in Hamilton or something? Or whatever? There was like a...
Yo, in Ottawa, they had like a tornado.
Yeah.
Woo.
So apparently, I think in Ottawa, there was like 150 houses damaged.
Yeah.
What?
Even over in Chicago, O'Hare Airport, there was a tornado that I think touched down. I don't think it was almost, but it did touch down. And a bunch of flights were canceled or delayed.
No way.
Yeah, this must have been a day or two ago.
Man, a tornado touching down at an international airport would be chaos.
That's wild, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Like these airlines need any more reasons to cancel their flights every day. Like a tornado touching down is just another one. Get your act together, airlines. What's the matter with you? What was it? Was it WestJet or Air Canada? They had like a record number of cancellations last year.
I want to say it was Air Canada.
Probably.
It's always Air Canada. It's always the legacy airlines that
The
get
amount
bailed
of
out.
problems I've had with them in the last like year.
Yeah, you should ask this
gotta
guy.
be.
He's been the
Everything.
expert of
Yeah,
issues with
yeah,
Air
you're
Canada.
the frequent flyer these
Yeah.
days. Tell us about your experiences with these airlines.
I'm telling you, it's just delay after delay after delay. I don't think the last 3 flights we took, there's at least been a 1 hour delay on every single one of them.
See, one hour is not bad. You ever see like these stories that come out, these horror stories, people in a airport for like 17 hours, 18 hours, no answer for anything.
Yeah, no, they don't even care.
No, but my flight before that, when we were coming back from Paris, that was basically a 12-hour like delay because it was delayed there for like 5 hours, and then in the air they decided to change our destination from Toronto to Montreal, and then we had to go through the whole process again.
Why did they not fill up the plane enough?
No, I have no idea. Like they never told us why, but they're just like, hey, we can't land in Toronto, so we're gonna. I think Toronto was too busy, so then they're like,
That's wild
we're gonna
if
take
that's
you to
true.
Montreal, and then it becomes like a domestic flight, right?
Yeah.
Guys,
From Montreal to Toronto. So
guys, let's talk about Pearson for a second. We know peoples who work at Pearson, so I don't want to say too much about it. But
no shade at you guys. You guys work at Pearson or you guys work for Air Canada, but
how this thing keeps getting voted one of the best airports in the world is beyond me, man.
I didn't even know I was up there.
I can't remember the last time I had a pleasant experience at Pearson.
No, I'd say the same. I think we're all in the same boat. Especially like for me, it's been a lot of specific airlines. Like I've never really had an issue with WestJet. But I don't know. It's not something with, I'm telling you, legacy airlines, they get bailed out by the government. So I feel like there's really no incentive to kind of keep a standard.
Yeah.
And I remember during COVID, I think they were the ones, right off the bat were like, yeah, no one's getting their money back. It wasn't almost till like 6 months to a year after.
These bailouts that these airlines get, I feel like if you need to go to the government to get a bailout for your business, the government owns part of your company now.
Yeah.
Until you either pay it all back or you just be like, all right, fine, you can just have this percentage of the company.
That makes so much sense. Why don't they do that?
Right?
Instead of just printing money, like you build a system that, you're
Like-
lending money.
Yeah, like you see these billion, trillion dollar, airlines asking the government for help because, COVID. Yeah, where's my bailout during COVID?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sir, whatever. Thanks a lot. Right? But these guys are asking for like, we need 600 billion. We need this. We're going to go belly up, whatever you want to call it. All right, fine.
I think that goes with most bailouts, right? Like if we say that, okay, we believe in capitalism and that's what we built our country on, or, you know, how is it capitalism if the government is bailing out your business
Yeah.
with no consequences,
Yeah.
with no strings attached? You know, we saw that earlier this year with the banks failing in the U.S. Kind of reminds me of 2008, how they bailed everybody out. You know, the financial market didn't just crash on its own.
Oh wait, was criminal.
Yeah, there was many criminal aspects to it. Nobody, I think only a couple people went to jail, if that. And yeah, it never ends well. I don't understand why the government needs to bail these companies out. The point of capitalism is, if your business is failing, that means you're doing something wrong. And you need to change that.
That is the risk you take, which every small business owner is told right off the bat. Be like, look, man, if this fails, this is on you.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you're like incorporated and if you're done, you lose what you put into it. That's how it works. You can't have a rough patch and be like, wah, we're struggling. Government, give me money. Right? Especially with airlines, man. Like, wasn't there supposed to be some bill passed to have like passenger protection in the event of like these cancellations and just
what would they do?
I think it's supposed to protect either like the passenger can get their money back, right? Or there's some levels of incentive where you're just
credit,
or they have to do everything they can to get you like on some other flight, on another airline or something, just to get you out of there. Basically, they're just trying to say, as passengers, you can't get treated like this anymore. Like they were supposed to pass something.
Yeah, that was after the Air Canada debacle after COVID.
I know there is, like, if you go on Air Canada specifically, I don't know if this is for all airlines or maybe it's for all airlines, but like if it's a 2-hour delay, you're entitled to like a certain dollar amount. If it's a 4 hours, you're entitled to something.
I know
6 hours, like that. That is in place.
I mean, that's something. I know there's a lot of these smaller airlines. Like we just booked for my parents. They're going out to BC and they have these it's like an extra $100 or whatever, and that gives you like a free cancellation. You don't lose your money if you cancel the flight, or if you have to change the time or the date or whatever. There's no fees for it.
Yeah, it's like insurance, right?
Yeah, basically flight insurance. Yeah,
flight insurance.
I think there's different types of tickets you can get too. I remember, so when we just flew to Edmonton, and we were asking, we're just like, there's an earlier flight. So we got to the airport, and there was a flight leaving an hour before ours left, and we're just like, hey, like we're already here, can we get on that one if there's space? And basically they said that depending on what ticket you buy, they're like, the one that you bought you can't change, but if you bought like an upgraded ticket, then you could.
Yeah, again, it's behind a cat paywall.
Yeah,
right?
I don't get it, man. Like, there was one time we were coming back from Cuba, and then they told us that we couldn't get on the plane, and I was just like, what, is like the whole flight canceled? Like, what's going on? They're like, no, there's too many people on the plane.
Oh, they always oversell.
Right? And I'm like,
I've seen that a lot.
I'm like, okay, but they didn't mean like overselling. They meant the plane was going to be too heavy.
What?
Yeah. So I was stuck in Havana for an extra day.
What'd you do?
They tossed us into a hotel.
Oh,
they gave us one meal ticket for a Cuban breakfast, which, you know, come on, guys, like, right?
Not very good.
I'm there pretty much with another buddy of mine. We can't speak like crazy Spanish to figure out what's going on. Thankfully, there was another family there where like the lady, she knew how to speak Spanish, so she was helping us out. Otherwise, I would have been in this hotel room, no idea what the hell's going on. I would have been stuck in Cuba if this lady wasn't there. But when they said the plane's too heavy, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
How do you
how do you determine that?
Yeah.
Right?
And then do you like take out a percentage of people just at random?
There must have been, I think, there was probably 15 of us. So there was 15 people that they just basically stopped right before check-in. They're like, no.
At that point, why don't you just do the luggage?
Yeah, send the luggage back separately. I mean, I don't care.
Like
I can get my bag tomorrow. I want to get back to home.
I think nowadays, for the most part, they'll give you, they'll ask people, and then they'll incentivize you with a credit or another, like some money back on your ticket.
But just that experience of just being in that that hotel and I'm just watching reruns of Martin till like 5:30 in the morning, just waiting to be tossed on this bus and sent back to the airport.
I think everybody out there, we can all relate to airport mishaps.
Yeah.
We've all got stories.
And one part of that story that was even worse is like we weren't even in Havana flying out of. We were in Veradero.
Oh.
So we got stopped in Veradero, thrown on a bus, driven to Havana, and then told in Havana we have to stay there overnight, and then we took off from Havana. So we were already 2 hours away from like where we were already staying, and I'm in Havana.
Crazy.
I'm like, it's cool, I'm in Havana, but I mean, I can't even leave the hotel because I don't know when this bus is gonna take off, and I'm stuck here forever. I don't even know if Cuba has a Canadian embassy. It's not even like you can go find them right now.
It's not probably like you don't feel the most comfortable. It's like getting stuck in one of the countries where you don't speak the language, and I don't know how at that time how safe it is, or just safety wise, right? There's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, but these airlines, man, you guys are crooks. Figure it out. It's not cool.
Yeah, it shouldn't cost me more to fly within my own country than it is to fly to Europe.
I know, man.
Right? Like sometimes I want to fly across Canada and explore my backyard, and I'm like, yeah, but for the same price, I'm out in Europe somewhere. Right? Like I can go to, Southeast Asia for some of the costs that we have just in, within Canada.
I think part of what makes it expensive here is I think we tend to forget how big Canada actually is.
No, I get.
Because if it's like a
that.
7-hour flight to London, like England, and it's 5.5 hours to Vancouver.
Yeah, but it's easier for me to find I can spend $600-700 fly, 6-7 hours over to the UK. Then why is that costing me what's Vancouver? 6 hours?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Right? Why is Vancouver like $9,000 to $1,000?
Yeah, it's not
it's not as easy to find those cheaper deals within Canada.
But that's Canada in a nutshell, where we have two companies basically running every industry in this country.
Yeah.
Right? Communications is run by Rogers and Bell.
Yeah.
Airlines run by WestJet and Air Canada.
Yeah. A lot of semi-monopolies.
Right? Rogers and Bell basically run, internet and phone like TV.
Yeah.
That's why we're paying the most for cell phones on the planet.
Yeah, that's wild.
How does that make sense? Wild. Individually, people are spending $100 a month on their plan.
In average.
Everything.
Yeah, that's
even
an
TV,
average.
internet, it's gotten ridiculous.
You ever see some of these these cell phone commercials from the States when you're watching basketball?
Everything it's unlimited, man. That's the key word. Everything unlimited.
Everything unlimited. 4 lines on the same plan for $35 a month. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
They're basically upgrading your phone for free. And so many incentives.
And here it's like you go over a gig, it's like, sorry, buddy, $20.
Yeah.
Right. And we're gonna slow you down.
Yeah.
Right. Rogers. And by the way, Rogers can't even figure out their own system. They went down last year. Was it last year?
It was.
It was last year.
Yeah, it was last year.
So half the country shut down for like a day and a half.
Yeah, that was pretty wild.
My goodness, man.
Yeah, I recall. I think it was one of the routers that went out. It was. I think
it was update.
Yeah,
it was an update. Everything
it was an update on one of their routers.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere, killed the system.
The update that you think that they would test before you launch it out into
you'd think so,
into the real world. And then there was a guy on YouTube. He was basically showing the map of the internet of the world.
Yeah.
And when that Rogers thing happened, it's like the internet didn't even know this thing existed. There was just one big white blob, and that was Rogers and its network.
Mm-hmm.
Man, and to have
companies went down, people everything was just down.
That's why a lot of I think a good chunk of businesses and companies, they just use Bell because you never hear this stuff happening with Bell too often. Rogers has a couple of big time outages over the last few years. Yeah. And what do they give us? $3 off our bill the next month?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was $3 or $4.
Appreciate it, Rogers. You guys are banged up. Do they still have the Ted Rogers statue outside of Skydome?
Pretty sure. Oh, outside of Rogers Center.
I don't know if they still do, but this guy owned the team for a year?
Yeah, I think that.
And they built him a statue.
And they built him a statue.
Yeah. If it's not there, they probably put it somewhere else. But
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't recall seeing the.
I
that
didn't see it
statue
last time. Yeah, I don't remember seeing it.
But yeah, man, Ted Rogers got a statue in front of Rogers Center before Joe Carter did.
That's crazy.
The guy that won you a World Series
Yeah.
ring
Imagine
doesn't
being,
get his statue.
just being Joe Carter walking up to the stadium. You see a statue of Ted Rogers.
Yeah.
My goodness. But yeah, I mean,
I feel like now that you brought up like the statue thing, when you're honoring players, I feel like you gotta do it like right away, because it's a legacy to them. While they're alive, they can like promote themselves, build a business off of that. Like, you know, the Hall of Fame and stuff, like you're putting in all these guys like way so late. I'm like, if you retire and you're a Hall of Famer, you should just be put in there.
yeah, I like what with these like eligibility? Why do you need to be eligible for the Hall of Fame if
Yeah.
your entire career that's all they've talked about is you're going to be a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, that opens up another can of worms. Like, if we're gonna get into the Hall of Fame debate, I've had that gripe with every Hall of Fame in sports because of that. Basically, what you guys just said. Like, at the end of your career, you're either a Hall of Famer or you're not. Period. Like 10 years, 15, 20 years down the road, and you're getting in the Hall of Fame, you're basically allowing someone in because there's no one else eligible. Like, I don't understand.
No, there's
that.
already like, I don't want to get into the specific. That is like a whole topic, and if you guys want to get into it, that's fine. But my whole thing is just basically, let's say you don't have anything lined up after the sport you play, and you're a Hall of Famer, and now getting that status, like let's say you're in your 40s and you're a Hall of Famer, you can, I don't know, autographs are more, just everything, appearances are more, so it's actually worth something to you. It's something to be proud of. It's something your family, you can enjoy with your family, right? But we wait so long, like all these industries, and then it's like the guy's like in his 60s or he's passed away, and now it's too late. Like, at least let them enjoy being a Hall of Famer.
Like, we look at it now. Sidney Crosby. Undoubtedly, this guy should go into the Hall of Fame the second he says,
Yeah, no
I'm done,
doubters.
right?
Mhm.
But there's an eligibility period.
Yeah.
He's not going to get into like maybe a couple of years. Why?
Yeah, I don't. That
Why?
makes no sense to me.
It works for like Hollywood too, like with the Walk of Fame, right?
Yeah,
When you've got this actor which has like this amazing body of work, but you're gonna wait either till after they're gone,
Yeah.
or when they can barely keep themselves together. Like, oh, let's give them that star now.
I feel like everything now is just like in school. There's no losers, right? Everyone's a winner. So I think, yeah, it just feels like everyone gets a star on the Walk of Fame. Everybody gets in the Hall of Fame. Like, it's lost all its meaning.
But-
or like,
Shouldn't it be like this? Like, I like your guys' idea, right? Like how you said, you're either, when you retire, you either are or you aren't, right? So if we're making that decision within like 2 years of you retiring, then it shouldn't be 20 years down the line, someone looks at the stats and just goes, you know what? He's a Hall of Famer, right? It's like the people in that era should make that decision, whether you're a Hall of Famer or
like,
not.
dude, didn't Pavel Bure just go into the Hall of Fame this year?
no way.
Or was that McGillney?
I think
no
recently
idea.
it must have been McGillney.
One of these two guys.
Yeah.
That's tragic. These guys stopped playing in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And we knew while they were playing that
Yeah,
these
we
guys
knew
were
while they were
awesome.
playing. They were like, yeah, these guys are Hall of Famers.
Can you imagine McDavid having to wait 5 years to get into the Hall of Fame?
That's eligibility period,
Yeah.
right? Isn't he?
Ovechkin's got to wait
Yeah,
5
like-
years. Crosby's got to wait 5 years. Like, what are
That-
you waiting for them to change their mind? Be like, you know what? I'm coming back for one more season.
No, like let's get rid of the
Yeah.
top echelon guys. But I think what the system does now, it gives out, like you have superstars, and then you have like your stars. Now stars go in the Hall of Fame, and then like you kind of keep lowering the bar over time. The longer the period is, the lower the bar becomes.
I think the Hockey Hall of Fame is the biggest culprit of that.
You think so?
I think so. Like,
I think about
just
that.
everybody gets in.
I feel like that about baseball too now.
Yeah, everybody gets in the
Like if
baseball.
you remove the steroid stuff, right?
Those guys are never getting in.
I disagree.
Bonds isn't getting in.
I think it depends how many years they have left. But if they're gonna be on the ballot, as these older guys die and the guys that, there's like a transition period between like the older generation and then the younger generation. I think like each time they've gotten more votes. So I think there could be a swing where, there's younger people voting and, they might look past that.
Maybe, yeah. But our guy Pete Rose has to be in. This guy should have been in 20 years ago.
And now they promote gambling like it's...
Yeah.
Yes.
No, but look, all of these sports promote gambling. And look at NFL, right? There's a couple of guys already that have got caught in team activities.
Oh, yeah. Was like the Philly guys or the Tennessee guys?
I forgot which team it was, but there's a couple of guys that got caught gambling, and it's just like...
They got waived.
They specifically say you can't do it, so... it's one of those things where...
But in Pete Rose's situation,
he
like, yes, he did gamble on the game, but he didn't gamble on his own games, though,
yeah,
right? It was
Yeah,
other games.
Yeah.
And what this guy did on the field was out of this world.
But it's not even that. Like, let's say you're LeBron James, and LeBron is like, I'm betting on myself to win this game. I'm going to score 40 points, right? Like, he's got to go out there and do it still.
But see, that's the problem. Like, now you're betting on the result
Okay,
of the
if
game
you're
that
betting-
you're in.
okay.
it's a slippery
that-
slope.
Yeah.
Okay,
when
no.
you get into
Wait,
That I agree with you.
Are Maguire and Sosa in the hall?
No.
They're not, right?
No,
Okay.
no.
I don't know why I've just visualized Maguire.
Barry
No,
Bonds, Maguire,
A
Sosa,
few
they're
guys
not
have
getting in.
gotten close now, but I don't think they're in. No.
No, but like...
No, but the steroid guys, like we said, they would have been already
Yeah.
in if it wasn't.
Yeah.
for
Like,
that.
No,
Barry
yeah,
Bonds
100%,
100% should be in.
Hmm?
Barry Bonds should 100%
Bond should be in.
right?
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, even like you look at him before steroids and after steroids, he was like, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was still a monster before like
Yeah.
his
He was
head-
pretty much a Hall of
Yeah.
Famer before.
before he
his
got
Yeah.
first. Let's say his first half of his career alone, right?
Then he developed that Ken Griffey Jr. head from The Simpsons when he drank the brain tonic.
Good old Simpsons, always on point.
Simpsons, man.
Always hit the mark.
Yeah. But dude, Pete Rose for Hall of Fame, man.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's gotta happen.
But that's one of those things where it's like, it might be like 50 years from now when all the voters are different and, everyone's gambling and it's not seen as such a bad thing and people are just going to be like, yeah, look what he did.
I think sports in general are at this point where it's moving into a new era where all these guys, these gatekeepers, these dinosaurs, these traditionalists, they're finally just being wiped out of the picture. Right?
Yeah, we're in a big transitional period, I would say, in all the sports.
So I think within the next 10 years, you're going to see a huge shift in every sport where it's just going to be like, this is where we should have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the result. And that part of that is you're seeing all these rule changes in every sport. Like every year, there's like a couple new rules, put in here, put in there, and there's a lot of testing. I think that's part of, giving kind of that transitional period in sports now.
I'm glad you brought that up, man. Did you guys see the NBA rule changes?
I
saw the
technical
flopping.
foul.
The flop one.
Yeah, the flopping.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
That one they've been trying to do for a while, for a couple of years now. But now it looks like they're going to be more stern about it.
I still think it's tough, right? Because without replay, like guys overacting, it's still a judgment call.
So
It's going to cause so much chaos.
Yeah,
in
like
these
the
games.
problem-
each guy's threshold for pain is different. So let's say I elbowed you, I'm backing up and I elbowed you in the nose.
I think what they're trying to find is like something that's a blatant flop.
see, no, but that's the problem, right? So,
I get it, but
Right? Because we're watching on TV, we can see a blatant flop.
But guys are trying to sell the call because the refs aren't going to call it. Like, if I get elbowed and I play through it, right, and they miss the foul, and what the guys are doing now is they get touched and they go flying and they flop because they're like, hey, like he fouled me. Like the call should be on him,
Yeah.
right? And they're trying to get rid of that. But the first tech that I saw that they called for flopping, it was the wrong call, right? Like he did flop, but he got fouled, so he's trying to sell the call. So it's
I see what they're trying to do. So I'm not against them trying it out, because like last thing I want to see is guys just
I agree. It's
rolling on the floor, acting all the time.
the
right?
problem
So-
is, yeah, it got too much, right? Like guys,
Like
are
it's
just-
soccer levels, man. It's soccer levels. Like it's invisible, just flops.
Yeah, guys like Harden are gonna have a hard time with this one, man. Because even when they changed it last season with the guys who leaned in to shoot to get the shooting
Yeah.
foul.
Yeah.
But even
Right.
like guys like Steph and all these guys, like all the greats, like they're doing it. They're trying to get every call they can, right?
I wonder if they're implementing this in summer league. Because I haven't watched any summer league, so I don't know if they're
they're
testing
calling,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're calling
Yeah,
it.
they're
So
calling
they're
it,
testing
yeah.
it right now.
They're testing it. And then what I haven't seen is they're saying how this year there's going to be like the 2 challenges now, right? If you win the first one, you'll get a second one.
Okay.
Right? So that is good. Right? That's what we keep saying.
Mhm.
Like, oh, right now, basically, if you challenge a play before the final couple minutes of the game when the game's on the line, it's bad. Right? Like,
Yeah.
we always say, like, oh,
That's
you
the
shouldn't call
problem,
it,
right? Like you
have to save it till the end.
and I've heard people say before, like you should just have unlimited challenges if you win them. But it's like
Then it slows down the game too much.
not only are you slowing down the game, you could be calling a challenge every minute. Like
Yeah.
there's something like
Yeah.
and it's way out of control. So you
No.
have to limit it. And I think they're just trying to find that magic number, and maybe it's 2. And I was thinking like 3. I think you're right off where you just start with 3 challenges.
How many does the NFL have?
NFL has 2. They basically have the same thing, right? If you challenge a play, no, you only get 1, but you retain your timeout. They only have
If
1.
you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
you don't get a second challenge. But the thing is with basketball or with any sport, you kind of want that human element to it, right?
You do. I think that's what makes sports great, right? Like the more you remove that human element out of it, like okay, what's crunch time? Like if there's a call you want to challenge with 2 minutes 30 seconds left, are you gonna challenge it or are you gonna save it till after 2 minutes? Right? Like you have to I think limiting it to 2 is good actually because you have to it's part of coaching, right?
Yeah.
You got to make the decision on when you think it's the right call.
But like you said earlier, like there has to be a limit to it. Though,
Yeah.
Right.
I think 2
Like,
is a
two
good
is
number.
good.
Like not limit in the sense of like how many you get, but what is it that you can challenge?
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're gonna be challenging, like it's the 7-minute mark of the third quarter, and you're gonna challenge like a possession,
But
like it went off a guy's fingertip or whatever, and you're up by like,
Mhm.
but you're down by like 9.
But I think
right?
that's why it's important to have the limit because again, that's the coach's decision, right? It sounds like it's obviously the wrong one, but
So
that every coach should have that right or team.
I like the 2. It's fine. But I think what needs to be fixed for that is at the end of games, during the playoffs especially, you want to get everything right. So I think the refs have to do a better job of, they don't have to wait for a challenge. It's just like, if they're not sure, just check the replay. Because we see it all the times when the refs get together and now they're trying to make up a call, right? It's like, if you need to get together and nobody's sure, just go check it. And a lot of
But
times
my
they don't
issue
do
with that is when is that time? Like, is it the last 2 minutes? Is it the last 3 minutes? Is it the last 4 minutes? Like, if it's a close game throughout.
No, but that's why. Then you do it the last couple minutes. Do 2 minutes, do 3 minutes. But they have to figure that out because we see so many games where it's just like, it's the wrong call.
Yeah.
And then it's like one wrong call changes the outcome of the game. And it's like, that's when I feel like it ruins
What do you
that
guys
series.
What do you guys feel about like adopting that soccer model with the eye in the sky referee, where like during the play, if the ref misses something and the referees in the booth catch it, they call down to the referee like, "Hey man, you got to go back and check it out."
Yeah, I think NHL does that too now.
On the fly or with the challenges?
I know. I think the NHL does that with every goal.
Oh, goal reviews, I
Yeah.
know. Yeah, but I'm talking like, if there's
Just
Oh,
any
every-
play. You're
like if
saying,
there's a
right?
penalty behind the play and none of the refs caught it, but the eye in the sky catches it, they can message down, be like, "Hey man,
It's
you
interesting.
want to check the scout?"
I think it'd be too much. There is so much missed in a game, right? And especially a game like basketball where it's like you're banging all game long,
Just contact all
right?
game long.
It's
yeah.
just, there'd be too much you can call. That's why I like it. It's like, it's either you got to change it, and every ref's got to be more consistent because you see every ref is different, right? You see it in baseball too. Everyone has a different strike zone.
Yeah.
Right. Every ref in basketball is gonna some let physicality go. Some is like you sneeze on someone and it's a technical foul, right?
Do you think?
So
Do you also think that with all of this and like how they're looking at the game now that you're basically demanding perfection from everybody, like from the players and the referees, where like there can't be any flaws?
Yeah,
but that's
in
what
a
I
way.
mean. But that's why I say like I don't mind. I just want consistency, right? If you're letting something go all game long and now there's 2 minutes left and you're like, okay, like we gotta buckle down, right? Like you're not calling fouls all
Yeah.
game long, and now it's like a guy goes for a layup, he misses, but it's a close game and you're not sure and you just call it, right? I'm like, if you're letting it go for the first like 46 minutes of the game, let it go for the last two as
Yeah,
well.
this goes back. I think we talked about this in one of our earlier episodes where we beefed about how the NHL basically has two rule books, where you have the regular season rules and you have
And
like the
then
playoff rules.
And which is clearly obvious. They've
Yeah.
had that for years.
Like, you're right. There needs to be consistency. Like, if you've called this all season long, but you're gonna stop as soon as the first round starts,
Yeah.
that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like what's the point?
Yeah. What is the point of the regular season?
Yeah.
I honestly, in all the sports, like this is why I think the NBA is trying this in-season tournament, and we'll see how that goes.
I like
But-
that.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? But I think all regular seasons have really just lost their meaning altogether.
But that's why they promote gambling so much, because they know that the regular season will only have meaning if people are betting on it.
That's so true, man. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think gambling's keeping it alive.
Gambling, yeah. I also feel, I know this is something the owners will never agree to, but I think you shorten out that regular season,
Yeah,
right? You shave it down to like 62 games or whatever. Each game means more,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
And the players get a lot more rest, but there's a lot more at stake because when you have a shorter regular season, you going on a 3-game losing streak means a lot more than
Yeah.
if you had like an 82 game season.
yeah. That's something that I think I've
Is-
always wanted the leagues to do.
Yeah.
Is really, I think that's what gives the NFL such power and influence.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, but like you said, I don't think the owners will ever go for it because
It's
It's-
your
But-
bottom line revenue at the end of the day.
The thing is, it's like, so if you don't enjoy the regular season, I think shortening it is fine. Because, but then I guess you're saying you got to spread out the games a little bit more, right?
The games get spread out a bit more, right? You can even start the playoffs a little earlier if you want to.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can start the playoffs earlier, or maybe you can make them longer. Right. You can add more meaningful games. Right. Like we see the NBA now trying this in-season
Like,
tournament.
I'll give you an example for hockey. I feel like there's just too many gaps. Like a team will play like sometimes 2 in a week, 3 in a week, and it's just like I feel like they'll play on a Monday and they're not playing again until like Thursday, Saturday.
Yeah, and then like at the end of the month, they're playing 4 and 6 nights.
Yeah, so I feel like I don't like the concept of spreading out games. I like them closer together. I like knowing that every day there's gonna be games on, right? Like to watch, and it's like your team's playing on Monday, Wednesday, they might play Friday or Saturday, right? Back to back, Saturday, Sunday or something, right?
Well,
I-
keep it like that, but then maybe have like a little bit of a longer
Again,
break between regular season. and
all
playoffs.
we're saying is you're just compressing the schedule, and you can play the same amount of games in the same period, right? You just compress the time. So instead of, we're playing from October to April, right? You go from October to maybe March, right? Or
Yeah.
beginning of March, and you kick out the playoffs. I
But-
don't see why. Let's say
but
hockey,
then-
for example. Why are we ending at the beginning of summer?
No, but
Yeah.
then there's the argument of like all those jobs, people do those jobs.
Yeah.
Right?
They're still
And
doing
money
those
and-
jobs, guys.
What do you mean? Okay.
Who's getting fired because you're playing 20 less games?
I'm talking about like the people, arena workers.
No, but the arenas are always
Right,
multi-use.
and all
They're
that.
being
Yeah,
used
they're
anyway
used
all the
for
time,
concerts. They're using for
But-
other things. It opens up more dates for other things, actually.
Because if you own the arena and you're worried about losing revenue because you're losing 20 home games, add a couple of concerts.
Yeah, throw something else in there.
Yeah, have the circus come to town. Is the circus still a thing?
I don't know. Cirque du Soleil is still a thing.
Cirque du Soleil is a thing, but like
Yeah.
I'm talking like,
I don't
big,
know
big
about
top with
those,
like elephants and tigers and stuff and like tightrope walkers. That's
You
Other
don't-
than Vegas,
Yeah, you
I
don't
don't
see
know.
that up here.
Huh?
Maybe
Like
in the
Vegas
states.
is
Maybe in the
only-
states. I don't know. You don't see that much here.
There used to be that
The
great,
circus rolling around your
Yeah.
town, you know?
the Great Canadian Circus used to happen on Mississauga. I wonder if that's still a thing.
Yeah, I wonder if that is still a thing. I do remember that.
Remember when these small little malls used to get like the carnivals?
Yeah.
I'd
With-
be
Yeah.
scared to go to like one of those circuses. Like if it was like how many injuries happen in a circus? Like they're doing all these like stunts and stuff. Like is it every time there's like somebody gets hurt or
Probably.
is it always flawless?
No, man. Talk to Dick Grayson. This guy's parents missed a mark on
Like,
Dick Grayson. Sorry, man. I always have to throw a Batman reference in there. I'm sure, but they have like the safety nets that kind of catch people when they
Mhm.
drop, right? But what if
Yeah.
a guy overshoots big time? Like he really put it all into like this swing, and he's
goes
just
into the
gone.
crowd.
Yeah.
He ends up in the fourth row.
Look,
There's some
That's
kid eating
so
popcorn.
dangerous
He's got
too.
like some
Oh,
200-pound guy coming at him.
look, accidents happen, but I don't think, they're as common as you guys are making this seem sound.
No,
like.
it's just whenever I think about it, I'm just like when you're doing stunts, everything has to be perfect, right? Like
Yeah, but this is what I mean. Like back in the day, they it was a common thing, right? So they're practicing all the time. This is what
but I feel like back
they're
in the
performers,
day,
right?
everyone's getting hurt all the time or eaten by lions.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I've never been to one. But
Was it Siegfried and Roy? They had the Siberian tiger, and it attacked. One of them?
Yes, I want to
yeah,
say
that's what I'm thinking
Yeah.
of. It's like that's the only moment I can remember ever.
Yeah,
So I'm just like,
they're still a thing, right? Siegfried and Roy.
I don't know. I have no idea.
This is like old school
This
Vegas.
is decades. Yeah.
Like Siegfried and Roy, David
Yeah.
Copperfield. Oh, guys, you remember Mind Freak? Chris
Freak,
Angel?
Yes.
yeah,
yes. I wonder if that's still around, or it's
Yeah.
probably something else now.
I'm pretty sure he's got a residency like at the Luxor or something.
Probably.
Yeah. All right. Who's the better street magician, Chris Angel or David Blaine?
I first thought Chris Angel, so I'm gonna go with Chris Angel.
Chris Angel did but David Blaine, some of that
Like,
stuff that
He was
did,
newer,
man.
right? David Blaine came after.
and the things that he's done is like he's taken his body and has done like the max.
He's done a lot of
it.
endurance things.
Yeah.
Like what was the one where he stayed in a block of ice for like a week?
Block of ice,
Underwater for like 4 days?
underwater.
Oh, this can't be real. How do you manage
Oh,
that?
he's in the middle of Times Square, like in this
Yeah,
this box full of water.
I'm telling you, and people are monitoring him, like
Yeah.
as doctors, all that. stuff,
Paramedics
like,
all over the place. The
like,
ice one, he was in
constantly.
Times Square too.
What?
I'm telling you,
Yeah,
like
check this
before
out.
he does this, before he does all his stunts,
Yeah.
he always like prepares.
But it is a
months and
stunt
months.
at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
obviously.
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah.
a magic trick.
Yeah.
It's an actual like he's putting his physical body on the line
Yeah.
to do these things.
Like he's just trying to show like what the human body and
Can
mind
do.
is capable
And
of.
and he's
right?
pushing him. So yeah, he's
Yeah.
showing how far his body can be pushed, right?
Yeah, or a human body.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, when that Chris Angel show popped up on A&E for the first year,
Yeah, that's what
the
I was
stuff
kind
that
of
this
thinking.
guy
of.
was doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the one where he had like the sheet in front of him and he had like a Hummer like just fly at him at 100 miles an hour and he's just gone. Right? I'd love to just not to take away the mystique of the tricks.
Mhm.
It's just my mind. The first thing that goes to my mind is like, I want to know how they did that.
Yeah, I
See,
think that's
right?
what's so intriguing, right? I think that's what brings you to
So
a show like that.
the allure of magic is all like not knowing, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've watched so much. Like, have you guys ever watched Penn and Teller?
Yeah.
No, I
yeah.
haven't.
Penn and Teller
I've-
are great.
It's
Yeah.
great. It's a great show. Like magicians go on, they try to guess how they do it, right?
Yeah.
And then if they're right, if you can fool them, you get like a trophy. You get like it's basically like a fame thing for the person that fools them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Like an accolade. Like these are two of the best magicians in the world. Like I fooled them, right? And I'm like, I've watched so much of that, and you see so many of their tricks, right?
Yeah.
Like the sleight of hand, this, that. I'm just like, it's great. Like it's a great performance, but now it's a performance and not magic anymore.
Yeah.
But performance has always been part of.
I know,
like,
but that's the thing.
remember the movie The Prestige,
oh, what a great film.
right? Like the show part of it is like
Mhm.
70% of it all, and then like the trick
the showman,
is like 30%.
right? You're like
Yeah.
they were showmen, right? So
Yeah.
you still have the entertainment side to that.
That's why Copperfield was so great, because his tricks were so grandiose,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
That you just get caught up in like
They're
the
captivating.
production of what
Yeah.
this guy's putting together, and when he does the trick, you're over the edge about it. Because the one where he was in the theater and he just started flying.
No, I remember
You
that.
remember
one.
that one? The guy just starts
I
flying, bro.
remember,
And when he walks through the Great Wall of China, man,
Yeah, no, it's
like,
you got to give it up to the production
Yeah.
team,
yeah,
the team that's putting these stunts together.
yeah, man. I mean, props to these guys. Like that sleight of hand stuff is amazing.
yeah.
Like the amount of practice that you need to like
It's
pull that up in
amazing.
front
It's
of
like-
people live without screwing it up.
The thing is, it's like there are some people that will go on the show and they will be like, I'm going to do this and this is how I'm going to do it. Right.
Yeah.
And they're showing you, but they're so good at it. They're so good at this sleight of hand that you don't know. Like, you can't tell.
Yeah.
You
Or
still
there's-
can't tell. It's
yeah.
like, how is this happening? Like, they're telling you this is how we're doing it, but it doesn't look like it. It still looks like, you know.
I got to check that show out.
What if magic is real?
Magic is real.
Magic's
But
real.
it just depends. Look, all science was magic at one point. Right? So,
They were heretics.
well, however you want to put it, yeah, they were. Because, right? Anything that we don't know is magic until we can figure it out. Like you
Like
said,
the unexplained.
right?
Witches.
Witches.
Yeah, everyone's a witch. You can't explain it. You're a witch.
Yeah.
That's what.
Yeah, we've had a dark, like human beings have had a dark, like many dark
That's the
periods.
thing. Like that, it's
in our
scary,
history.
right? If you see something that you can't explain, if someone does something, all these magicians, if you take them all the way back in time and they're doing these tricks,
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
persecuted.
yeah,
They're
It's
like, you got heads rolling.
Like even just poor guys who were just doing science experiments, and they were like
Yeah.
being like, that's basically where the Illuminati came out of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because the church was like, nah, you know what? We don't need this
Yeah.
because we're gonna get people away from the faith.
Exactly.
Force these
Yeah.
guys
It
underground.
was a threat. Yeah, it was a threat to the church.
Yeah, forced
Right?
them underground. They became
Yeah.
Illuminati to illuminate your mind, right? I mean, but it's evolved into something else completely.
Yeah,
now,
it's
but-
evolved now, but that was the start of it.
Yeah, that was basically it. So these poor guys are underground doing all these science experiments
Yeah.
and basically laying the foundation of where we are now. Yo, big
Yeah.
ups the original Illuminati, man. You guys are awesome. You guys ever see Michelangelo's sketches?
Like some of his
Sketches?
original work.
Yeah, so like stuff that he put
I've
on
seen some,
paper, like
yeah.
his helicopter
Yeah,
and like all
stuff
that
like
Yeah,
stuff he
I know
never
that.
actually like. It was just like drafts,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? Just stuff he scribbled.
So he
Yeah.
was pretty much like this guy's mind was so far out there that
Yeah,
he was putting down on paper during his time like flying machines.
Damn.
And he was figuring out the physics of it, and he had all the dimensions of it all, and you know, I mean, it wouldn't have taken off, but the fact that he had that knowledge during that time with what they had available to even have that
Yeah.
idea is crazy.
but I think sometimes we forget how much resources there are dating back in history of at least what's left in history, like, you know, in not just biblical times, but, you know, in ancient times they had pictures of flying objects, right? So
Yeah,
this goes back centuries, if not, millennia.
I mean, we'll touch on this probably on the next episode, but the whole ancient astronaut theory.
There you go.
There was there's like a church in, I think it was a church in like Romania or something. They have a fresco
Mm-hmm.
up on the ceiling of the church, right?
Yeah.
And in both corners of the fresco, they have what looks like a dude in a rocket ship,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like he's in like a little cockpit.
Yeah.
He's got his hand on like a thing, and he's got
Yeah.
there's thrusters. It looks metal, right?
But like
but this is like, you know, 4th century, 5th century, 6th century.
let's go even further than
right?
that, right? Like the Bhagavad Gita has flying ships, right? Like this is such old a history, and the fact that there's drawings and illustrations of flying machines, right? They've been around forever, right? If the human mind was creating these things so long ago, we often forget because, we have such a short lifespan.
Yeah.
A lot of things get lost through history, and like we say, Christopher Columbus discovered the New World. The New World was on maps centuries before he discovered anything.
Yeah, there was that one map from Turkey from like the 1500s that showed Antarctica.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Antarctica wasn't discovered until what, 1870?
Yeah. And it was discovered in the 18th century.
Yeah, that's a 300-year difference when you have this map
Yeah.
in Turkey that's showing it. Right? Nobody thought much of it because they're like, oh, this is just South America.
Yeah.
And then there we go. We got
Now
Antarctica.
imagine all the wars that have been fought, all the history, all the books that have been burned, the burning of Alexandria. Like, we've lost, how much, so many texts that probably could have given us insight into so many different civilizations and, peoples that came before us.
That Vatican library has probably got some crazy shit in there.
Yeah.
And they're keeping that thing locked down more than Area 51.
No way.
Yeah, man.
And where is it located?
Under the Vatican.
Under the Vatican, yeah.
Okay.
So the library there, and it takes... You ever watched the Da Vinci Code? Or read Da Vinci Code or any one of those movies?
I haven't.
So basically, they touch on the Vatican library that has like all these...
I think that was the first one, right?
Da Vinci Code, yeah.
The
I
Da
think
Vinci
they
Code,
talk
right?
about
Yeah.
that one. But it's like the church collected all these things throughout history
Mm-hmm.
from all these different parts of the world. They just grabbed it and they took it and it's in their library. So what not a lot of people, but what some people are saying is that they've got answers to so many questions that we're asking, but they're keeping it under wraps because the whole foundation of the Catholic Church crumbles.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
so-
And
Yeah.
if not the church, at least the idea of what we believe and think of the way we think of the world
Yeah.
will crumble.
So they're saying that they might even have actual proof of like something did come.
Yeah.
There was at one point in Earth's history or during
Mhm.
history of like civilization, we did get visited by something, and they have that proof, but they don't want anybody to know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
they've lessened their stance on UFOs, I know, over the last decade. I think it was the last pope that
Even like the current one, like he's a
Yeah.
bit more. I'm not gonna say he's progressive. He's clearly not, but he's more open to like
yeah, they've been more open and
disclosing
they've
these
been
things, talking about it, whatever.
And I think that's a misconception. I think the church has it all wrong. I don't think, any of these things conflict with faith, right? I think the church has it's become an institution, and this goes with all religions. Like, they become these such big institutions, but they forgot that what they're built on is just faith in God.
Yeah,
And I think faith in God can be on its own. You can have faith in God, but still have all these other crazy things in the universe that we've discovered
yeah,
can exist at the same time.
yeah. Like you can still have your belief in it, but that doesn't mean that you can't have somebody else running around on another planet somewhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like the Earth, because that whole way of thinking was like the Earth was the center of the universe. Everything
Yeah.
revolved around the Earth, and it's only
Yeah.
us. Clearly, we know that's not true anymore.
The more you think about it, like the more we go back in time and we think about the church and we think about these, the back and forth between science and religion, a lot of it's just come down to, not understanding that having faith in God is totally separate than everything else.
But the problem
Like
is
both can easily coexist and do coexist.
No, but the problem is, it's like if you have a set of beliefs and now you have proof that one of those beliefs is not true, or like, it's a question, then everyone can start questioning, okay, what about the rest?
But
If that
but
one's
now you're
not
talking
right-
about the religion aspect of it, the institution.
Mm-hmm.
There has never been any evidence for or against proof of God. Let's put it that way. Right? So faith in God. So how does someone
people might
discredit
disagree.
how does someone discredit someone's faith in God, let's say?
Yeah, like you can't just go up to somebody and be like, hey, you know what? There's no God, right? But
Yeah.
then they're gonna be like, okay, show me the proof, right? But then the
Mhm.
counter argument is, all right, show me the proof that there is one.
Exactly.
It's a never ending battle,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
This
Like,
is just
yeah.
it's something that's built within us being conscious beings that we can, like, faith is important, but that does not supersede anything else.
But
Like
the thing
everything
is,
else
it's
can
like-
exist.
But that's the thing with, like, faith is built on something, right? Like it has a foundation of like, this happened, right? That's why I have faith. I believe this happened. I believe this happened, right? And it's like there's so many conflicting views in the world, different religions, like, science and all that stuff. I'm like, that's why everyone's always fighting, because it comes to the point where it's like, oh, I disapprove this.
That's
right?
that's
then,
why, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying that's what the incentive is, to be like, how you're saying all the Vatican, like you can prove all these things. But it's like, even if one of those things can shake anybody's faith or their faith, right? It's just like, what's better to just hide it away, right? Instead of fighting for, like,
Yeah. Or they're just waiting for people to be smart enough to actually handle that kind of information.
To be honest,
Right?
I don't believe we'll ever get to that point, because I think it's actually getting worse. I think before we could handle it better than we could now.
Well,
and as time goes on, because we're fighting about so many stupid issues these days.
all right.
in
Well,
the world.
let me counter that with where the world was during the Dark Ages, right? Like during the
Mhm.
Middle Ages, right? The Renaissance happened, right? The
Yeah.
Renaissance happened, and the way that people started adjusting their view of everything led to this boom in civilization being propped up to the next level, right? What if we're in this spot right now in this time in history where there's going to be a second Renaissance, right? Like it has to get worse before it gets better,
It's better,
Mhm.
yeah.
right? Like we're I'm not gonna say we're rock bottom, but we're getting pretty darn close to kind of hitting rock bottom,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
But maybe that's where we need to get to before people are like, you know what, pump the brakes. This does not work anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta figure it out and change it up. We could be headed for Renaissance 2.0,
Yeah.
right? Because that's exactly what happened with the Renaissance back in the day, where it's just like everything was so hardlined, where this is how it is, nothing's different. All you people who think differently, you're all witches, you're all this, you're all that, we're gonna kill you, hang you, whatever. But then finally it was just like, you know what, all these brilliant minds popped up, like, you know what, we're not dealing with this no more.
Mm-hmm.
This is how it's gonna be.
I think we're in the midst of a big radical change that's happening. Like ever since COVID, I think COVID woke up a lot of people, and people are continuing to wake up. I feel that there's this big shift happening in, the way things have run in the world, and the way the West, I would say, America has run the world for the past, after World War II. I think, like there's a lot of there's just a lot happening right now. And I think there's a big shift happening in the world right now. There's a lot of people waking up, as Andrew Tate would put it, waking up out of the matrix.
It's gonna happen, because I find it like it's a cyclical thing, right? There's always gonna be an up, there's always gonna be a down, and it's gonna be a back up again. There's no way it can continue to keep going down, 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 because eventually, if that's the trajectory of civilization, the final down is just us destroying ourselves.
There's got to be a
And just
breaking
wipe
point.
that. Yeah, I think
And
we're
that's probably happened, right? Civilization has reset itself many times, probably thousands of times in the past.
yeah, we're probably like way ahead of schedule, considering like where we are as far as like this civilization is going.
Mm-hmm.
But they all come and go. Look at Rome.
Yeah, it may be the inevitable conclusion of every civilization, right?
Yeah, you had the Greeks, you had the Spartans, you had Rome, you had, the Mongols.
Well, think about
You
Rome. Rome fell because why? Because people got comfortable. People got happy. People got like, no one wanted to fight anymore. People had everything they wanted. There was orgies. There was all this happening. And, you get comfortable. Life got easy. And that's when that's when Rome fell.
Yeah, but politically at that point, Rome was in shambles too, right?
That's part of it, definitely
the-
politically, but
yeah.
that's easy to have. So your political systems, like if you look at it now, that's what's happening, right? It's falling apart because, it's easy to control the masses because everyone's comfortable.
You think there's going to be a Julius Caesar moment? There's going to be the A2 Brute moment here? Because remember, I think, was it you that brought it up, that saying that they wanted to take Biden out?
Yeah, I was just thinking that right now.
Because that just like hit my head. I'm
It
like,
just-
that could be that Caesar moment.
Yeah, if they definitely look, he's not gonna be the president again. So who the Democrats have? They have right now it's RFK. There's nobody else in like nobody else, and so and I don't think anybody, that's, let's say, behind the scenes or the deep state, whatever you want to call it, that they want RFK in power. So like we have Trump on one side, we have RFK on the other side. Like it's wild. That alone shows how much, what's changed and how these two individuals are really connecting and reaching people because people have had enough.
Maybe that's what's needed for this shift and this renaissance to kick off, man.
Yeah.
Because people who say that we're doomed, I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think we're doomed. I think we're in a spot right now where collectively everybody's on the path. As much as we're separated,
Yeah.
we're on the path to collectively become like getting on the same page.
Yep.
Right? Because I'm a big believer in like this collective consciousness that everybody's connected in this one with consciousness, right? As much as like they've tried to divide over the last 3 or 4 years, you're starting to see that gap kind of.
You're starting to see it all over the place.
I'm not saying it's drastically coming together, but you're starting to see like.
No, but guys who I never thought I'd see talking about the things that they're talking about and having like Tucker Carlson has done a 180 in my view, right? From what I saw on Fox to who he is today. People like Andrew Tate who blew up the internet with the things he's talking about. And this this like what we're doing, this podcast, this long form conversation is really getting people to talk about things they never did before. So I think that collectively is starting to shape where we're going to go in the next 5 to 10 years.
Well, when the leash is off, the dog's going to run.
Yeah. Fair
Right?
enough.
Like even with Tucker, when he was on Fox, even the leaked text messages, like they basically admitted that he was playing a character,
Yeah.
right? That wasn't actually him. He was just out there just to get ratings and just get people riled up. Right? But then when he got canned, it's like, all right, that's how you want to play this game now? Let's do this.
And I think it's given like this, the internet, so YouTube, Twitter, like, podcasts, people now have the power to fund themselves. Like they can be their own business, right? They don't need mainstream media. They don't need a network to support their career.
Yeah, that's
right?
what all these guys are doing, right? Like Stephen A. Smith, that's what he says, right? Like eventually he wants to be his own entity, right? Like how Pat did it, right? He's his own entity. ESPN acquired him, but he's his own entity. He can go anywhere and be him.
I think Stephen A's already
Right?
got that. I'm surprised he feels like he doesn't.
Yeah, but
maybe he's talking in terms of like not being shackled by like the mouse.
thing is like
right?
he right now.
But then he's choosing to.
No. Now he's branching out, right?
Yeah.
Like it's later for him in the game,
Yeah.
right? Because things change later.
But
right, in
okay,
his
so
life.
he's another guy who's now on YouTube. Now he's had the freedom. I know a few of his videos got blocked, censored, but he's starting to talk about things you'd never hear him talk about on mainstream media.
No, but that's the thing,
TV.
right? Like for ESPN, right? Obviously, there's things you can't say there because it's like you have a boss. You have to please your bosses, or they're gonna let you go, right? So being your own entity, like now Tucker Carlson is doing it, right? Pat did it. Who else? I think Colin, he's pretty much his own entity too, right? On Fox.
Yeah,
wait, is it on Fox?
Colin Coward, he's Fox. Right?
Coward, yeah, he was
Fox.
Yeah,
I think he's Fox, right?
Like he's basically his own
Fox.
thing, right?
No?
Yeah. But then you also see these guys who just did it themselves, and now they're becoming bigger than these traditional media outlets, like
I think they're
Rogan,
seeing that,
right?
Yeah, they're seeing that now.
But that's the thing is like once you have everyone, more people watch like YouTube and all these like websites, like online
Yeah.
content, than they do actually tune in and watch. Like, who really tunes in and watches like ESPN, their actual TV show, right?
But you'd be
Whereas people go
surprised,
to-
man. You'd be surprised.
Is it?
It's so rare. Like the people we're talking about is one thing because we're tuned in, we're checked in. You know, we listen to these guys speak. We listen to different podcasts. We listen to the conversation on both sides. But when you go out there and you speak to people, like your average neighbor, your coworker, like a lot of people are not plugged in. Like there's a reason why it's been so easy for the powers that be to kind of have that's why COVID happened the way it did. It was
But-
so easy just to control the masses.
So this is where how we were talking about like the shift where the newer generation, I guess I would say anyone from like the 80s and like up are more online in the online world, right?
Yeah.
And anyone born after that it's more online. Cable's pretty much dead and it's
Yeah.
gonna be dead eventually, right? Everyone's getting their information off the internet, right? Twitter, all these other apps.
Social media, let's call it what it
Right?
is.
So once you're there and you're, like you're doing a podcast, you're your own entity, you have your own business, right? That's your show. That's when you'll actually see like who that person is. Right?
Yeah,
Like all these networks are controlling everything right now, but once you branch out, then that's where we'll actually see all these like different ideas and different conversations, more of these conversations, better conversations.
Yeah, and you're seeing people that, like Champ talked about earlier, like seeing like Tate and Carlson having a talk.
Mm-hmm.
People that you wouldn't have thought ever would have sat down in a room together and having conversations.
I would have
right?
never
Yeah.
thought that.
Which is why we need to stress like having this kind of discourse. It's never just this is how it is, and anybody else saying it, they're wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Vilify them
Yeah.
and move on. That's why Rogan is so successful
Yeah.
because he brings on people, even though he doesn't agree necessarily. Like even with Sanjay Gupta,
Yeah,
right?
that was a
Like-
good example.
like after CNN did what they did to Rogan, he brought Gupta on and had a civil conversation with the guy and
Yeah.
asked him, "Why'd you guys do what you did?"
yeah.
Right? And then he even had Gupta kind of change the way he thought about it all too, right?
Yep.
Like that's how it's supposed
And
to
you could see how much he was tied up, where much he
Just
couldn't
look
say.
at the
Yeah.
Look at the first interview that Piers Morgan did with Andrew Tate.
You know
Right.
what? I'm
Like,
gonna
it
pause
was-
you there just for a second because he's another guy. Like I was saying, Piers Morgan. So there was a couple interviews when I was younger. He had Alex on a couple times, Alex Jones, and he just got under my skin and BBC in general. But he's another guy who's now having people on and having respectful conversations I would have never thought he could do. And now he's done a 180 for me where I'm like, you know what? I respect that. I respect what you're trying to do now. You didn't do it before, but I see where you're going and you're waking up.
So that's exactly what I was getting for. Like when I first saw the interview, like he has this hostile attitude and he's going after them, right? And it's just like after that interview, you see Andrew Tate on again and again and
Yeah.
again, and they're having like a proper conversation because it's like when two people actually have a conversation and try to understand each other's viewpoints instead of just trying to stick to your agenda and be like you're wrong, that's when you actually see like a difference.
I don't know if any of you guys saw the Breakfast Club
I did.
clips, right? With so they had Vikram on. What's his name?
Is this recent?
Yeah. He's running for president, right? He's in third right now.
Oh, okay. I see his face. I just don't remember. his
Yeah.
name.
So they had him on, and they literally went after him. He kept his poise. He kept his cool. If there's a couple clips floating around, so definitely check it out. But that's what we're talking about. Like, that's the kind of stuff that you see a lot from the left. You see just a lot from people who are who react emotionally when they get triggered about something.
What I'm gonna stop you there for a second. What frustrates me the most is when you have an agenda going into an interview.
Yeah.
When you're going into an interview, like ask the questions and don't. I don't like when people interrupt, right? Like you're interrupting someone constantly, being like, no, like you're wrong, this, that. Like first, if you ask a question, be respectful and let the person answer. Once they're done, if you see a different viewpoint, then you say why, right? But this was one of those interviews which I'm telling you right now, you'll get so frustrated because it's like they don't even care to listen to what he's saying.
And it's so obvious it's an
Right?
attack
Yeah.
that like.
But the Breakfast Club, they're a bunch of puppets too, though.
I
100%,
honestly,
100%.
this
Like-
was my
like Envy, Charlemagne, like they're.
yeah.
I mean,
I had no idea because this was my first time actually watching anything from them.
like Charlemagne, I'll give a little bit of credit because he tends to be a bit more rational. But
He
Envy,
tried,
I
he
can't stand
tried,
it.
but it like
No.
he did not
He
come
is-
off well. He did
He
not.
is such
come
a
off.
hypocrite because
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's just like he'll have this opinion of like you can't do that, but he'll be doing the same thing. You can't profit off of that. Why are you doing this? But then you're doing the exact same thing to be
Yeah.
successful, right? So it's just like
It's a wild attack.
Yeah, it's strange.
It's a
to
straight
see
up
him-
attack.
It's just it's strange to see him like that because when you, I don't know if this, when he used to do like what was it, Brilliant Idiots with Schultz,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh,
You never really saw
Forgot
that
he
out
did
of him,
that.
but but the more it goes on, it's like you see these guys becoming more and more like Muppets.
I think a lot of it comes down to I was having this conversation actually with my wife the other day. Like you have that, like you have the red, like it always goes. For some reason, a lot of these conversations go back to the Matrix, and you have that moment where you have the red pill and the blue pill, and when someone gets a dose or a taste of the red pill, they become erratic, they become emotional, they become triggered, and because they've been living in this, like the false reality they've been living in as a puppet for so long, like you have to have some compassion and understanding why this person's reacting that way. And it's like part of it is if you take the red pill, you have to kind of be lenient and understand, hey, I was also there. I think that's what's missing in a lot of these conversations where people attack one side, because when they do get that, they do step out of this, reality that we're living in that's really, really controlled, when they get red pilled, like that is the common reaction.
Because now you're telling people to get out of their comfort zone.
Yeah. And people
Right.
get really uncomfortable.
It's like taking a wild animal into captivity, right? They're gonna take you
Yeah.
out before it's like, because you're taking me out of my comfort zone. I don't like this.
But that's
Yeah.
why,
Right.
like, even though, like, you don't have to agree with everyone, but some people know how to debate and have a proper conversation. And, like, I'll tell you, like, one of those guys for me is Ben Shapiro.
Ben
Right.
Shapiro.
Shapiro, yeah.
Yeah. So he's one of those guys where it's just like, he has all this knowledge, but he knows how to, like, get his point across. And he doesn't have to be, like, mean about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he doesn't have to attack you.
That's the funny thing with Ben Shapiro, and if you look at just the team over at Daily Wire, you'll see what's his name? What is a woman? Blanking out on his name.
Oh, Walsh.
Walsh, yeah, Matt Walsh. Like he has this comedic side, but he comes straight at it, right? And a lot of times it sounds really mean. Whereas, Ben Shapiro has this opposite approach. He has all this knowledge and he's just talking to you.
Yeah, but
Right?
both sides are guilty of that, though.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
Both sides have those characters that are like very aggressive and no. It's the ones where you kind of get in the middle or where you have the best conversations.
For sure, yeah.
Right?
Those are the best conversations.
Because who's that guy that got banned off of YouTube? And remember, he used to go around college campuses.
Like
He's-
Jordan
he's-
Peterson. He's one of
Yeah,
the guys
Jordan
that
Peterson.
is
Yeah.
so good at that.
Yeah, because Peterson's he's rational,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? The man's an educator, and even when he gets confronted by like these maniacs, he just stays calm. He's like, look, you want to talk or not?
That's what Vikram did, right? That's
Right.
the Breakfast Club. Like that interview, he kept
the
his
thing
calm.
is, the one thing I did not like about him in that interview is they were being so disrespectful. At some point, you gotta be like, stop, and be like, this, like,
You have to
call
call
them
them
out.
out. Yeah,
Call
you
them
have
out.
Fair enough.
like I understand when you're in politics, you don't want to show that you can be unhinged, but you have to show some sort of personality.
The thing,
You can't just be a robot and be like, oh,
Yeah.
you know.
No,
I'm
but
just-
like God, give the guy credit. He answered everything.
he did
the
but
way
no,
he
but
should
the
have.
thing is, it's like, it doesn't matter how you answer it. It's like, if you're trying to answer a question, you could give like the perfect answer or explain your point perfectly. And if I'm constantly interrupting you while you're trying to get your point across, that's so disrespectful. You got to be like, stop. I gave you your time. You got to give me my time to speak. Right? Like, you got to be firm about it. Right? You got to let every single person know there, right, that you're there. Yes, you're there. You were invited. But you're there. They invited you.
I think
so.
part
They
of
should be
it's
respectful and let you answer. Like, look at Trump.
Yeah, but
Why does everyone love Trump? Because you know what? He might be mean, but he gets his point across.
he does.
He'll
But
be
it,
disrespectful, but we all know that, you know what? They're being disrespectful to him, so he gave it back. It might not always be right.
I get
but
what you're trying to say. Like I get it, but like I do see the other side where it can, like when you're kind of caught off guard. So I know many of you probably who follow Andrew Tate know the BBC interview that they set him up with, and it was a total setup. He talks about it, but
that was an ambush.
yeah, it was an ambush. So
Yeah.
you get blindsided. You kind of in the moment don't also want to look like a fool, right? So, it becomes like a, difficult line to cross, right? So I think giving the best answers you can is the best way because the other side already looks like an idiot.
but look at what Andrew Tate did. He stuck up for himself.
No,
He's
he
like,
did.
Whoa! Like, this is how we were prepped. This is what we're here to do.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you gotta be firm. You can't take
Yeah.
that disrespect because it's like then they're just gonna keep doing it to you.
I think Sonny's right.
And
I think
then-
because he's running for president, and he's not
But that's the
political. He's
thing.
not in politics, so that's going to be a learning experience for him.
But that was the point I was trying to make. Like, if you're in politics, show that you have some sort of emotion.
Yeah.
Be a human.
Mm-hmm.
Humans, when they're attacked, they're gonna get defensive and they're gonna fight back.
Yeah.
I don't want a guy to be prime minister or president that's just gonna sit there and take it and just try to be neutral the entire way.
Mm-hmm.
No, I want to see a guy get upset, be like,
Yeah.
no, you know what? I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think that
Right?
goes to Jack's point. That's why Trump is so popular, right?
That's
'Cause,
why.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. He'll stand up and
Exactly.
say what needs to be said.
Because now when he's gonna go meet other world leaders,
Oh.
they know that they can't do that to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So already before he gets to the table, he's already established that.
Yeah.
Right. But when you have a guy like Trudeau,
Oh God.
who's just a
Trudeau.
doormat for everybody, everybody
Yeah.
knows that this
Yeah,
guy's gonna
like
come
you
in
can
here.
walk all over him,
We're
yeah.
just gonna
Yeah.
walk all over you, man.
Yeah.
Right. You have to have some guts. Politics is a dirty, dirty, dirty game.
And you gotta, yeah, it's dirty, but the right people will call it out. And those are the people now we want in politics. We want the people that are not going to stand up for that and call out the bullshit, call out the lies, call out the, just the secrecy, everything. And I think that's why, like, we have a race now going into next year. Like, we have candidates who we never would have thought had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also when you hear politics not recycle the same thing that we've been hearing for the last 60 years. This guy comes out and says something different. Oh, he's radical.
Yeah.
No, he's not. He's just saying what everybody else is thinking. But because he's not saying what everybody else is, you don't like him.
I think what everyone's guilty of, I certainly am guilty of, is like how they always say, go vote. Right? It's
Yeah.
not just go vote. It's, do you really know what this candidate stands for? Do you really know
Yeah.
politics? Right? And I'm guilty of that. Like, I'm number one person where it's just like, when I was younger, right, I didn't ever look into any of that stuff, right? It's like, yeah, I'm watching this sports or that sports, right? Or I'm playing this or I'm playing that. I'm going out to do this, right? But you're never really looking into all this, like, what's happening in
Yeah.
like in our own city, right? And it's like in America, it's like just look at like how many people go vote, right? How many young voters are there, right? And the people that do go vote, like how knowledgeable are they? Are they just voting for they saw this candidate say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this," and now they believe him?
That's the thing. Like I think when people say go out to vote, they make it so black and white,
Yeah,
right? But where, as an individual, it's impossible for you to lean one way,
yep,
right? Because every aspect of your life is affected differently, and every space on the spectrum has something for you, right? So when people go vote, like especially in the States, it's just blind voting. Like I've been a Democrat my entire life. I'm voting Democrat.
Yeah.
I don't care what this guy has to say.
Yep.
I've been a Republican. I'm voting Republican. I don't care, right? Unless something egregious happens and like whoa, maybe not so good. I'll go this guy. But in Canada, our problem is the parties and the people are so close together that it makes zero difference,
Yeah.
right? That's why, you know, whenever I try to vote or I want to vote, I'm looking at what are you going to do for me, right? Like I'm not looking at the macro side of it. I'm looking at the micro side of it,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't care about foreign policy. I could care less, right? Like how is my life going to get better with, and who's going to help do it,
Yep, yep.
right? But that's not how they say it,
Yeah.
right? They always make it like, oh, you know, this guy's got a plan for, you know, this country, this guy's got a plan for this, and this guy's got a plan for that.
I think that
Alright.
goes to what like Jack's saying. Like most people don't actually know, and they just go vote anyways. And I think that's on the politician or you know the person that's trying to be voted in. Like I've never had a problem, and you know this is just how I feel about it. If you don't know enough, it's your job to find out. And if no candidate is offering you a reason to vote for them, why should you vote?
Yeah.
Like, yes, I get voting is your right. Voting is important. But if no candidate, again, what standard are we holding them up to?
No, but when you say that, it's like, it's better to
Is it better
pick
to just
your
vote?
poison. Pick your poison, right?
Like
Okay.
let's say there's a guy and 70% of the things that he says resonates with you, and the other guy 55 to 60% resonates with you, right? But you both know they're both bums, right? The 70% guy, you're gonna take your chances with it, right? Like, all right,
Fair enough.
He
fair enough.
kinda has me with
Yeah,
this stuff
fair
more
enough.
than this
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
I'll give it a go.
Because you know,
It's easier for us to do it here because
Yeah.
we're so central with
Yeah.
everything, right? We're not having extremes like down in the States. But sorry,
no, but that's what I was saying. I'm just like, it's better to pick your poison because you're
Yeah.
gonna choose the one that's a best option, right? Whereas if you don't vote at all, it's like now you might be get stuck with the other one that's worse for you.
and you can't even complain about it because you didn't vote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair
So
enough.
it's
Right?
like-
You
can't-
guys
if you
changed my
don't-
mind on that
right?
one
If
quick.
you don't vote, you can't complain,
Yeah.
right? Or if you don't vote and it goes south, be like, I told you so,
Yep.
right? But if like that's one thing, like when people who like just complain, and then you ask them if they voted and they say no, like what are you complaining about then?
But I think that goes to part of what I'm saying. Like, it's your responsibility more than voting to actually understand what you're voting for before you vote.
Absolutely,
Right? Like, it's important to understand, you know, how it works. But like, what issues are important, issues are important to you, and where, you know, the candidate stands on them.
Campaigns need to have a lot more time to simmer with people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like it's got to be at least like if like let's say the elections next year, right? For
Yeah.
the states, right? Campaign should be starting September. 1 year. People have a year to figure this out.
Yeah.
To be
Right?
honest, something like voting and like laws and all this stuff like should be properly taught in school. You know? So then as kids are growing up, then it's easier for them to understand all this terminology.
I don't
where-
disagree with you. That's like finance, right? Like, why isn't finance and all that stuff taught?
Like at least
at
know
a
the
young age.
basics,
Yeah,
right?
like
Like I
basics
didn't know
of
the
that.
basics growing
Yeah.
up.
Like
Right?
basic life stuff, how to do your taxes,
Yeah.
rent,
Yeah.
buying a house, mortgages, how they work.
So-
Stuff that's actually real life.
yeah.
It's
Like,
when it
let's
comes
not
to-
get into the education system here.
Yeah.
That thing's a whole other can of worms.
I
but
won't,
whatever.
but it's just like if you're teaching these life skills, it's like you're gonna get a better voting system. You're gonna get better it's just better decision making.
yeah,
from
like let's be
younger
honest.
generation, right?
Let's be honest. When was the last time you applied trigonometry to anything? When was the last time you applied calculus to anything?
Yeah.
When was the last time you
least-
applied any of your biology to anything? Right? I'm not saying that these courses are useless. If that's what you're going to be going to into life, do it because you're gonna
Specialize in it. Yeah,
need it.
like
Right? Yeah.
there's no point of you have to take like biology, chemistry, and physics, right? All three of them, like you have to take them all, or
Yeah, like when they become like when it's like you have to have these in order to graduate, but why? I don't care.
yeah.
Right? Like I
Like-
just want to be like a graphic artist. I just
Some-
want to music production or whatever. Why do I need
So,
chemistry?
Basic math, basic math you should know. That should
Yeah.
be a must.
Yeah.
Right? Then you add in these taxes, even politics, something like that. Right? Instead of geography is fine, right? Oh, you know where the provinces and all
guys,
this
I
stuff
think
is,
geography is pretty
no,
important. You'd be surprised how
no,
many
no, no.
people.
I'm not saying it's not important. I'm saying what's gonna benefit you more, knowing where all these provinces are and where these cities are, or actual life skills.
I think with geography, because when you do the later on geography course, it becomes more about the planet, right?
Yep.
But I think every kid should know their country,
But that's the
the
thing.
provinces, the capitals, where
But
everything
all
is,
that
whatever.
basic stuff is taught before high school.
Yeah. Oh, in
Once
high
you-
school.
but
Yeah.
That's what I
Guys,
mean.
Yeah.
That's
This
what
is-
I'm trying to
we're
get
opening
at.
a can of worms here because we're talking about the early
I
education
think-
system, right?
Yeah, no, but I think basic science, basic math, and all that stuff should be taught all the way up until grade 8.
You know
And
what?
Then,
You know what? I just got an idea. Because this is a topic that we really can get into.
Mhm.
Let's do this, but let's have a teacher join us.
Yeah. We need a teacher on
Okay.
to kind
Right?
of better put it into perspective.
I'll work on that. We'll figure it out. I think that would be the best way to have this conversation is to get that inside view of everything.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
We're going to make that happen.
Let's make it happen.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I could go on. I have so much to say about it,
Mm-hmm.
but I think since we're all really passionate about it, let's
Yeah.
get
Let's
somebody
get
in
somebody,
the system
yeah,
in here.
in the
Mhm.
system who can talk from experience, right?
Right.
With what's going on today.
Yeah. Okay. Good. We're preparing again.
Yeah.
Love it.
even though the plan that we had last week blew up and we didn't do that at all.
Yeah.
But we'll do that for another one. But that's fine. Speaking of systems, FTC lost their injunction against Microsoft.
I always thought that's how it was gonna end. I didn't understand why, unless you can explain it to me, why this battle needed to happen.
Okay, so Microsoft's trying to finalize their buyout / merger of Activision Blizzard,
Activision, yeah.
right? That scared Sony clearly, right? Because now your competitor is buying probably the biggest publisher out there, right?
Yeah, who would Activision be competing against, right? They're massive.
Well, I mean,
Like-
Activision as a publisher, they're just competing against everybody else, like Ubisoft.
But I
and
mean,
whatever.
who's up there at their level,
Nobody, because they have Call of Duty.
Yeah.
right?
But-
Okay, but Call of Duty is just one. They have IP after IP after
World of
IP.
Warcraft.
Well,
Warcraft is still
Blizzard
going
stuff,
strong,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Overwatch, the
Diablo
Overwatch
and
scene
stuff is
has
all them too?
exploded. Diablo, and they got mobile games,
Like Candy Crush is Activision.
yeah, they
I did not know
have
that.
Yeah, Candy Crush is Activision.
Wow.
I don't know another publisher who can stand up and at least not in North America be
Yeah.
we're even close.
So
Mm-hmm.
so Microsoft was trying to push this merger through. What the FTC was saying is this is going to be anti-competitive,
Mm.
right? This is going to affect high-end console. It's going to affect cloud gaming. It's
Yeah.
going to affect basically Microsoft's like Game Pass and stuff, right? And then Microsoft was like, no, because we already came out and said, even if this merger goes through, we already have a 10-year agreement with Sony for Call of Duty.
Yep.
the games are going to be on it. But Sony and FTC were saying, no, they might do it. So what the judge basically said is like, look, I understand what you guys are saying, but everything Microsoft has said has basically been opposite of what you have been claiming, right?
Yeah.
Then she threw Minecraft in their faces, right? Because she's like, Microsoft bought Minecraft, but they didn't do nothing. It's still on all your consoles, right? And they said that Call of Duty is going to still be on your consoles, right? And she's like, you have provided zero proof that this anti-competitive thing was actually going to be a problem. She thinks it's actually going to be better.
Yeah.
So
I
she's
think
like,
so too, yeah.
injunction denied. So they won that one, right?
Okay.
They got blocked in the UK.
Yeah.
But
I saw that.
But the EU said, cool, whatever, got a low, we don't
Yeah.
care, right? Done. So now July 18th was supposed to be like the cutoff date for them to finalize this merger, right? They're probably going to do it because now the FTC is appealing, right? But now people are up in arms. Are like, why are you wasting our like the taxpayers' money on
Yeah.
this appeal, right? Like your case isn't good,
Yeah.
right? Even the Sony guy, Jim Ryan, when this whole thing was happening, he admitted, he's like, the only reason we have a competitive edge against Microsoft is because of our exclusives, right? So then Microsoft's lawyer was like, oh, so you're competitive because you're keeping stuff for you, right?
I
And
always thought that was the case. Yeah.
right?
Like I did not see this ever even materializing as a case. Like I'm surprised they got this far because that's what I always thought it was. Like the exclusives is what makes and breaks the relationship.
Was any of this like public video and stuff? Or
I don't think
it's
I
all,
don't
like,
think it was
just
video. It's
transcripts?
just transcripts and
Oh, okay,
reports and
okay.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, let's be honest. We're talking about Microsoft. This company is just all about money. You're gonna tell me that they're gonna leave money on the table by taking Call of Duty exclusive? You guys are out of your mind.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's just, I'm gonna say it. Sony fanboys, they're just worried. That's all it is. They're worried about, Microsoft having Activision under their umbrella, and everything moving forward is gonna be Xbox only, and
Xbox,
these guys can't stand that.
Yeah.
But when Spider-Man game comes out, oh, look at you guys, Xbox, and you can't play Spider-Man.
See, like what
Right?
Sony does is like Call of Duty, I guess, is the biggest one, right? They're like, get it with us because we get DLC faster, we get beta weekends faster, right? We give in-game incentives, like more like a loot box or something.
Yeah,
right?
and how is that any different than if
So-
Microsoft had stuff on their thing, right?
Exactly. So
Yeah.
they're monopolizing on like, oh, we get things first, or we give things like we give you extra benefit.
Yeah.
So don't go there, come to us.
The only thing I see out of this is Call of Duty stays cross-platform. Microsoft even said they're bringing it to Switch. So you're
nice.
you're expanding Call of
expanding
Duty
it,
now,
yeah.
right? What I see Microsoft doing is like they're gonna take these games that are just under Call of Duty and maybe make them exclusive, right? Like you'll probably have the next Tony Hawk, Xbox only. All right, cool.
Yeah.
No problem, right? Candy Crush, it's on Game Pass. Fantastic. Cool. I played on my phone anyway, whatever, right? Call of Duty stays cross-platform. What else? And then they could, like even with, because Microsoft's done a really good job of basically blending the Xbox PC ecosystem into one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They could just be like, all right, Warcraft's only it's going to be on Xbox now. Even though right now it's only on PC, right? We're bringing it to Xbox.
That's
Cool.
what I really see. I feel like I don't think they're going to interfere much with what Activision is already doing. They've proven that, what they're doing has worked. At the most, I think what they'll do is they'll try to bring some of their games onto the Xbox as exclusives, aside from Call of Duty.
Yeah. Like even when they bought Bethesda,
Yeah.
right? You bought Bethesda, and the first thing that went through my mind was the only reason they did this is because they need something as far as an RPG to compete exclusively on their system.
Yeah.
Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls is going to be exclusive. I'm pretty sure that the next one is going to be exclusive to Xbox, because they're doing whatever they can to compete with Sony's exclusives. Because Sony's
Yeah.
exclusive, they're really good, man. These games are
And
fantastic.
you have to have some edge, right? Like you have to have that competition somewhere. So
Yeah.
that comes through exclusives.
And
But not
if-
even that.
right.
So now that they have Activision, right? They don't even have to just go down like the exclusive. You can even exclude Xbox altogether. But all these games like World of Warcraft and all that stuff, right? Now they're in charge and they're like they can make changes. Now they can profit more from that, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about profit, right? At the end of the day.
That's all it is.
and
Yeah.
it's
You're- Like you're not spending $60 billion on this merger, right?
yeah.
To be like, oh, you know, we're doing it just to crush these guys. No, man, you want to
No.
keep
Imagine
making money
paying
off
that
of
much
it.
money to a publisher. Like
That's what the
that-
deal's worth, 60
Yeah.
billion.
no, but that
Yeah.
like that just shows like how well Activision as a whole has done.
It's Call of Duty. They're basically just buying Call of Duty. Like that's what it is. It's just like with Live and PGA.
You think Call of Duty makes that much money?
They
Where
make
does.
so much money.
Blizzard make or Activision makes what they make through like their subscriptions?
I mean, we're talking. This is like the best-selling game every year behind FIFA.
Like
maybe.
look at WoW. Like,
But this is
right?
once a year sales.
No, but because of like the way that they've set the whole system up now with like these battle passes and Warzone
Yeah.
and everything, like they're making so much money.
They are.
Right.
I get Call of Duty is huge. I think Activision is definitely more than just Call of Duty. Like I think the combination of
Candy
their other
Crush.
games.
Candy Crush is making them tons.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The
Yeah.
mobile scene is making them tons of money. Hearthstone is probably making them tons of money.
Yeah, that
Right?
too.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's got game passes. That's got monthly boxes. Like, you know, they got 3 expansion releases, I think, a year. So
No, but that's the thing. They have Warcraft, they have Diablo, they have.
yeah, I think they're really versatile,
Uh-huh.
and I think they got so much revenue coming from a lot of different streams. That's why for them, like, it doesn't make sense to make Call of Duty exclusive because you know they have their exclusive titles already.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got the list of top grossing games in the States last year, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
Candy Crush Saga, $606 million.
It's gonna be mostly mobile games.
Roblox, 424 million. Coin Master, I don't even know what that is. 341 million.
Coinmaster.
Royal Match, 248 million. Pokemon Go, 238 million.
Damn, Pokemon Go, 7 years still going strong.
Yeah, Clash of Clans is still up there, 209 million. Genshin Impact, 185 million. It's all mobile games, man.
That's
Yeah,
what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
guys. We're talking about like the mobile gaming industry, and like that's where all the money is.
Yeah.
If you look at global statistics, Genshin, FGO, like these are crushing other games.
Okay,
It's just so easy to spend money in like one of those, like especially on a handheld on your phone. It's like you're
But
playing
and
it,
they're also gotcha games, right? A lot of
Yeah.
them, right? So they
like loot boxes and all that
Yeah,
stuff, right?
it's a
You're
form-
just rolling.
the only way to kind of progress and get through those games is spending money.
Just another form of gambling, yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can pull up console games though, because that was just giving me all mobile stuff.
I feel
Okay.
like consoles got to be Call of Duty, no?
Call of Duty was the highest grossing game of last year console,
Yep.
2022. Then it was Elden Ring. Then it was Madden. Madden's there every year.
Really?
Yeah, Madden's massive, man. God of War exclusive. Lego Star Wars. Lego games are big.
Mhm.
And any time one comes out,
And are those-
FIFA's always up there.
You know what? Here, you guys. Okay, I'll give it to you guys. Like Call of Duty. So here, I got this list. So just for Activision, Call of Duty's 4 billion.
There you go.
After that is Candy Crush over 1 billion. Then you got World Warcraft at 1 billion, over 1 billion. You got Overwatch at 1.4 billion.
But look at the difference. It's
Overwatch
like,
is still making that much, eh?
look at number 1 to everything else. Number 1 to number 2 is a $3 billion difference.
Yeah. But this is why we're talking about Activision. Every game's over 1 billion.
Yeah.
Like that's insane. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, Overwatch, the reason it's grown so much is like they're replacing the e-gaming scene. Like the e-gaming scene is Overwatch now. They're really like they're pushing League of Legends out from the top spot.
Yeah, Overwatch is like the staple in esports now, right? Wow.
Their scene is growing massively.
Overwatch 2, right?
1 and 2.
Yo, I totally forgot Overwatch 2 was a thing. Because that didn't have a really great launch, did it? I heard it was like
Yeah, because
it was not good.
but no, for Overwatch 2, they the first one you had to pay to buy, right?
Mhm.
But the second one is free to play. Yeah, they went free to play. So
Okay.
And
I
these
would feel
totals
like
are
more
how much.
people would.
So these totals are how much they've made total. So Call of Duty goes a long time, right? So
those are totals like lifetime. You're saying
yeah,
sales
Call of Duty's only done 4 billion lifetime?
on
that-
Activision itself.
I think so.
No, but it's always been Activision.
No, I mean, are they including like from all consoles and everything? Yeah, then it.
No, so sorry. This is last year.
That's what I'm
Okay,
saying. Because
last year,
GTA
yeah,
5
yeah.
has done like 2
Yeah.
billion on its own.
Yeah. Last year alone, Call of Duty made.
No,
4
wait.
billion.
GTA 5 is way more. GTA 5 did $1 billion in its first year.
Yeah, that's crazy numbers.
GTA will always do like
Yeah.
you release one next year or even this year, like
Video game
it's gonna be
revenue
$1 billion.
is bigger than Hollywood movies.
Yeah,
They make way more. Because when a movie hits $1 billion, everyone's like,
Yeah,
damn,
and
man, this one's a thing.
It's rare now too.
Yeah.
It's getting
Mhm.
harder and harder for a film to hit $1 billion.
Yeah. But a video game hitting $1 billion, it's like, yeah, we kind of expected it.
Yeah.
Right? Call of Duty launches like, yeah, we're gonna hit $1 billion in like 3 months, no problem.
yeah.
All right.
Well, the games are now like $100 a piece, right?
Yeah.
Millions of people playing it just to buy the game.
Yeah.
It's hundreds of millions, right?
Yeah.
And then
But
you know.
the amount of marketing that they put behind COD every year though, it's stupid. Like
Yeah.
it's dumb. Like
but imagine
yeah.
like $100 base game, like $150 for like their special edition, and then you're paying what like $10 or $12 for a battle pass,
Yeah.
right? So
Multiplied that by how many millions of players you have
DLCs,
DLC. Yeah.
so
the
they get
different
to billions
seasons.
easy.
I personally hope that this happens. Full disclosure, because I'm more of an Xbox guy than I am like a PlayStation guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to see both consoles do well,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And we all know that Sony's consistently going to have top tier exclusives. PlayStation's fine. I want this to happen so Xbox can have something to call their own outside of Halo, Gears of War, Forza, because that's all these guys really honestly have,
Yeah.
right? What was
And
it?
like Gears, they don't even like they're not making anymore, right?
Well, it's been I think it's been what, like 5 years, 6 years since Gears last one, but
To
there is
be-
gonna be another one.
To be honest, I just hope like Microsoft doesn't interfere too much with what Activision's already doing. That's my fear.
They
Like,
won't. Microsoft, they're so hands off with like their studios.
Yeah.
They're just like, here, we'll give you a blank check and just make it.
Okay, I hope that continues.
I feel like now they could even push more money into it to make it better.
That's the thing. Now you have Microsoft money backing this
Yeah.
game, right?
That's a
right?
good point. Yeah.
Because then you might have something sleazy where it's like, let's optimize it for Xbox and make it a piece of crap on everything else. Whatever, man. All right, episode nuevo. We set a new record today. That's great,
Yeah, that was a long one. That was over an hour and a half, I think.
buddy. We're an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh my god.
So thank you for sticking with us with this one. This was a good conversation. But the next one, episode 10, we gotta plan something big for that one. So
Yeah, maybe we'll have a
fi-
guest. Let's do something for number 10.
Yeah, we'll figure that one out. But again, thank you so much for joining us and being part of our conversation. We really enjoy it. Follow us on our socials for all the updates. Subscribe.
And please let us know if there's topics you want us to cover, something you guys want us to talk about. We're always, we love hearing back, and we want to know what you guys want to know about.
Yeah. And subscribe onto the YouTube channel. Let's get that algorithm all belligerent and stuff too. That'll really help the channel out as well. And again, thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it. Peace out.
Peace out.